Well, good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Richard Cruz, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Wing Commander Ivan Benitez Aguirre. We warmly welcome the family of Lieutenant David Roy Hart, whose story will be told shortly. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, I invite you all to please stand and join in singing the national anthem. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and in operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Lieutenant David Roy Hart. David Hart was born on the 28th of November 1918 in Dubbo, New South Wales, the son of Thomas and Mary Hart. Young David attended Wangabourne Primary School and then All Saints Bathurst before finding employment with the Bank of New South Wales. He also gained valuable military experience as a member of the 24th Light Horse, a part-time militia unit. After enlisting in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force on the 2nd of July 1940, it wasn't long before he was appointed acting corporal. By the end of July, Hart had been transferred to the recently raised 2nd 3rd Pioneer Battalion and had begun training. Hart's leadership abilities were evident at an early stage, and in early September, he was appointed acting sergeant. The following year, in July, he was sent on a course for potential officers, where he was noted as being keen and intelligent. After 2 weeks pre-embarkation leave, he embarked from Sydney on the 1st of November, 1941, part of a convoy going to the Middle East. By this time, Hart had married Nancy Wheeler in Young. The 2nd 3rd Battalion sailed on the retired cruise liner Queen Mary, the same vessel that would bring them back in 14 months' time. They arrived in Egypt in the 3rd week of November and traveled by train through Palestine, spending Christmas in Castina. On the 26th of December, Hart had his rank of sergeant confirmed. In January, the 2nd 3rd moved to Syria, where it was attached to the 9th Division. Hart's promotions continued, and he was promoted to lieutenant in May. By July, the battle in North Africa had become critical, with German and Italian forces reaching El Alamein in Egypt. The 9th Division was rushed to Alamein area and held the northern sector for almost 4 months as the 8th Army was reinforced for an offensive under a new commander. On the night of the 23rd of October 1942, a massive artillery barrage heralded the offensive. The infantry successfully captured most of their objectives. However, tanks were unable to follow through and continue the thrust. With the Axis forces stubbornly holding their lines intact, the offensive threatened to become bogged down. The 9th Division was ordered to switch its attack northward, and what followed was a week of extremely fierce fighting, with Australian forces grinding their way forward over well-defended enemy positions. Their gains so worried German General Erwin Rommel that he diverted his strongest units to stop them. Places such as Thompson's Post, the Fig Orchard, the Blockhouse, and the Saucer became an inferno of fire and steel as the Australians weathered the storm of bombs, shells, and bullets. With Rommel's attention firmly on the Australians in the north, his line was weakened further south, and on the 2nd of November, the British tanks struck a decisive blow. The Panzer Army suffered crippling losses, and Rommel was forced to order a general withdrawal or face total annihilation. His army now began a headlong retreat that would soon see them all ejected from Africa altogether. The Second Battle of El Alamein is often seen as being a turning point in the war. Winston Churchill later remarked, "Before Alamein, we never had a victory. After Alamein, we never had a defeat. But victory was not without cost. Between July and November 1942, the Australian 9th Division suffered almost 6,000 casualties. Among the dead was Lieutenant David Hart, who had been killed in action on the first day of the offensive. He was 23 years old. Today, his remains lie in El Alamein War Cemetery in Egypt, which contains over 7,000 Commonwealth casualties of the Western Desert Campaign. His name is listed on the Roll of Honor on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lieutenant David Roy Hart, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If you're able, please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.